Hello, this is Jill from PaperDaisyCrafting. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and I'm here today to give you a little tutorial on how to make these lovely floral bouquet cards made with the Petite Petals stamp set and punch from Stampin' Up. So let's get started. As you can see, I've made them in different colour schemes. We're going to make another different colour scheme today. Nice bright colours, lovely spring colours I think these are. So let's get started and have a look at what we're going to need to make these cards. First of all, the stamp set I'm using is the Petite Petals, as I said, which comes with 6 stamps. Six flower head stamps. We're going to use the one up in the top left corner there today. I've mounted it already onto an A block ready to stamp, and we're also going to need the Petite Petal punch, which makes it really easy to punch those out. We need some cardstock, so I've got our thick Whisper White. I've made a card blank, which is half an A4 sheet cut in half and scored down the side to fold it in half. So that measures 15 centimetres by 10.5 centimetres. If you're working in imperial measurements, pop over to my blog because I will put all the imperial measurements on there. We then need a coloured panel. Today I'm going to be working with Melon Mambo, so we want a panel that's going to fit on there. The panel measures 14 by 9 centimetres, and then a panel of Sahara Sand as well, which measures 13.5 by 9 centimetres. And as you can see, I've already embossed my Sahara Sand panel with our softly falling embossing folder. I've already done that, so you will need that folder as well. Okay, what else do we need? Right, I'm going to be working in 2 quite bright colours today, so I've chosen to work with Melon Mambo and Pumpkin Pie. So I then need the coordinating enamel shapes in those colours because I'm going to use those as the centres for flowers. I need the sentiment. I need a little strip of card which just measures 1 centimetre by 6 centimetres, and one of the teeny tiny sentiments. I'm using Happy Birthday today, but there are loads of sentiments in that set that you could choose. Got it just here. So you could choose to do Get Well Wishes with Sympathy, I'm So Sorry, Happy Mother's Day. I actually made my mum a Happy Mother's Day card this year in this design. Thank you. Lots of designs there that you could use, but today I'm going to be using Happy Birthday, and I'm going to stamp it in Sahara Sand to link that with the background. And then finally, what else do we need? We need a little scrap of Pear Pizzazz card that we're going to cut the stems from, scrap of Whisper White to stamp the flowers on, and a piece of Whisper White baker's twine to make the little bow. And I think that's about it. So hopefully we're ready to start. So first of all, I'm going to take my card blank, and I'm going to use our liquid glue today. I find, as people, if you've watched my videos already, you'll know that I prefer this because it gives you what I call a little bit of wiggle room. You can put you can place something down and then it gives you a moment to move it if it's not quite straight, and I'm not always very good at getting things straight the first time, so I quite like the fact that you get a little bit of wiggle room, so I can put it down there and I don't have to really be sure where it's going until I press it down. So just mount that onto there, and the same with the Sahara Sand panel. Oh, upside down. Try not to do that. There we go. So I've got my card blank ready, and now what I need is some stems for my bouquet. So I'm going to take my piece of Pear Pizzazz, and I'm going to take my trimmer, and I just need some very, very slender slivers of card to do this. So what I do is I line the card up with the groove where the cutting blade is going to go, and then just budge it over very slightly. It doesn't even need to meet the next line there, because we want very fine slivers to make our stems. So like that. 2. And I'm going to need 5 of these. 3. 4. 1 more. and 5. All the things that you'll need to make this card will actually be at the bottom of my blog post, so please pop over there if you're unsure about anything that I need. Okay, so we've got all the stems sorted. Now for the flowers. Okay, so I'm going to stamp using pumpkin pie and melon mambo. I'm going to do 5 in pumpkin pie and 4 in melon mambo, and it's very, very quick to do. Tap, 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 stamp, tap, 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 stamp, tap, 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 stamp, tap, tap, tap. I'm just going to go around the outside of my card because it's easier to punch out then. Stamp, there we go. That's my pumpkin pie. Just close my stamp pad so it doesn't dry out. And I quick whiz on my, you can't see it, it's off the film here, but I'm just cleaning my stamp with my stamp cleaner, my stamping cleaning pad. And then stamp again with melon mambo. 4 of these. Tap, tap, tap. Stamp, tap, tap, tap. Stamp, tap, tap, tap. Stamp, tap, tap, tap. Stamp. There we go. Okay, the colours in Stampin' Up, when you stamp, they always come up lighter when they're dry. They always look a bit dark when I'm stamping them, and then when they dry, they're really pretty. So don't worry if you think they're a bit dry, if they're a bit dark. Okay, so we've done that. While I'm in stamping mode, I'm just going to stamp the sentiment ready to use in a minute. Okay, so there's my little strip. I've got my Sahara sand, and tap, tap, tap again, and I just need to line this up to make sure it's straight. Try and get it straight and in the centre. Not sure how successful I'll be. Oh, it's quite down the bottom of that one, but hey, I might try again on the other side. Let's try again on the other side. Try and get it up a bit more. There we are, that's more central. Excellent. Okay, lovely. Okay, we'll finish making that later on. Okay, so with the stems, we now need to put the stems on before we put the flowers on the sheet. So we need 2 that are 10 centimetres or 4 inches. So I can measure on my grid paper here. I've actually got it on the inches side, so I'll do it in inches. So one that's 10 centimetres, and I'm going to use again our liquid glue. Just putting a little bit here on a Pringles lid with a cocktail stick, because it makes it easier to add little amounts. So you can just squidge a little bit of glue on the back here quite easily without making too much mess and without using too much glue, because it's quite expensive, so you want to conserve it as much as possible. So that one goes in the centre up to the top. Then we want one that's about 1/2 inch shorter, 1 centimetre shorter, so that one's going to be about 3.5, and we need 2 of those, so I'll cut them both at the same time. Can't see what I'm doing here, can you, on the camera? Hey ho, there we go. So there we go, and then just position these so that they cross fairly near the bottom, not too wide apart. Don't worry if you splodge it a bit, because that's going to be covered up by the flowers. And the other one is going to go on the other side. I've cut my stems diagonally at the bottom because I just think it looks a bit like, just finishes them off a bit neater really than sometimes. There we go. And then we need 2 very short ones, which are going to be, I think I'm just going to cut them at 3. So I'm going to cut that one in half. So there we go. Little bit of glue on the back here. And there. And again. And then we can start positioning our flowers. Well, we've got to punch our flowers out first, haven't we? Okay, so we'll do that. So there's my the beginnings of my bouquet with my stems overlapping, crossing there. Okay, and then as you can see, they've dried a bit lighter, so they're a bit nicer colours. So we just need to punch these out. It's very easy and quick to do with the Petite Petals punch. Have it upside down so you can see what you're doing, and just line it up and punch. You get a moment, you can kind of grab, if you're not quite sure if it's in the right place, you can kind of grab it and then decide whether you want to go for it or not. But it's very, very quick and easy to do this. I've got to do 9 flowers, as you can see. I hope if you're enjoying this video and you've watched any of my others that you decide to subscribe. It'd be lovely if I could build up the number of subscribers. It's really encouraging when people decide to subscribe to me. So, and thank you to anyone who's watching who's already subscribed. I'm very grateful, and I'm thinking that maybe when I get to something like 500 subscribers, I'll do a little giveaway for all my subscribers, a little giveaway competition. There we go. Last one. And we're going to mount some of these on dimensionals and some of them they're going to go flat. So if I take the sample card that I had here, just to give us an idea of the layout, I'm going to take a pumpkin pie flower and put it at the top here. I'm then going to take two of the melon mambo one. Let's stick that on, not stuck on very well. Two of the melon mambo ones, and stick that either side on the tops of these stems that we put here. And then I'm going to take a dimensional and stick that on the back of one of my pumpkin pie flowers and put that there. I'm then going to take another dimensional on the back of a pumpkin pie and put it to the side. So you're just really building up the bouquet. I build it up from the top, which I find easier. I'm not sure whether there's an easier way to do it. Put my pumpkin pie there. I'm then going to put a pumpkin pie flat on here. So there's a mixture between ones that are flat, which gives you a bit of variety of dimension, which just makes adds a bit of interest to the card. So that one there, a melon mambo. This one's got a much brighter colour scheme than the others I've done. Okay, and I need one more melon mambo with a dimensional. Oh, I can't get it off. Broke my nail yesterday. There we go. So tuck that one in under there, and one more pumpkin pie, which is going here. There we go. Okay, I'm now going to take my enamel shapes and I'm going to use a sharp pokey tool to help me poke these off. On the pumpkin pie ones, I'm going to use melon mambo. Up to you. You could use a completely different colour if you wanted to. I quite like linking in the colours like this. There we go. So I'm using the smallest dots out of the enamel shapes, but you could use the bigger dots, or you could even use the stars. Actually, I think the stars would look quite pretty in the middle of these flowers because they look like they've got stars already. And then the pumpkin pie in the centre. There we go. The one here I'd use Pool Party and Tempting Turquoise, just in case you're wondering what colours I'd use there. Okay, beginning to look like a nice bouquet here. Okay, so now we're going to tie a little bow in our Whisper White. So I just do that really quickly. Our Whisper White Baker's Twine. So just make a bow and adjust it to the size that you think it needs to be. So just pull that through. It can be quite a tiny little bow if you want it to be. Doesn't need to be huge. Okay, it's not the best bow in the world that I've ever tied, but you get the idea. Okay, I'm going to cut off the ends. I want a bit shorter, and I'm going to stick it, really like that one going down rather than up. I'm just going to use a little bit of Tombow again with my cocktail stick in the centre there. You won't need much to hold it, and pop that in there. There we go, and that will dry eventually. Okay, and then I just need to go back to my label, my sentiment. I'm going to cut a V in each side just by hand. I know some people are a bit wary about doing this, but I just do it by eye. Practice makes perfect. I've done it so many times now, I rarely have a mistake. She says, probably making a mistake. There, and that's going to go over the base of the bouquet on a couple of dimensionals. So make sure you put the dimensionals the right way round so they don't show. You know, nothing looks worse than hanging out half a dimensional hanging out. Okay, hope you've enjoyed this little project. I really like this card. I think it's got a lot of potential for different variations of colour and different occasions. Plonk my sentiment there, and we're all done. Okay, thanks for joining me today. Hope you enjoyed my little project, and come back soon to see what else I'm up to. Thanks very much. Bye bye.